You have found the right path to retirement. I am here with financial advisor and certified financial planner, Jimmy Lynn, the founder of Right Path Wealth Management in Henderson. And he is here breaking down the latest retirement worries and headlines for us today. Before we jump back in, I just want to remind you of the offer that we've got on the table for you today. If you are one of our first 5 callers, we will get you on Jimmy's calendar for a complimentary retirement consultation. 702-744-8344 is what you need to dial. And I just want to remind you, there is no commitment attached to this. You aren't signing up for anything. This is just a conversation and a chance for you to get your big retirement questions answered. Spots are filling up, though, so make sure you call. Claim yours while you can. That number for you, again, is 702-744-8344 or online at rightpathwm.com. All right, Jimmy, diving back in here, 7 tech stocks continue to dominate Wall Street, but when you set those aside, is there still room for the market to climb even higher? Here's Jeremy Siegel of the Wharton School of Business on CNBC. Take a listen.
Certainly, we could have a pullback. I still think the bull trends are intact. But once you take out the Mag 7, we're only, slightly above a longer term median. So I'm still positive on the market at this time. Of course, any sort of developments could come that could change that. But what I see is still constructive, very constructive.
But Jimmy, for those nearing retirement, is the bigger risk not missing out on growth or not being prepared when the bull market finally cools?
Well, I would say both, right? So as you're going into retirement, the risk of this bull market cooling could affect your retirement plans if you're not properly allocated. And if you also are not prepared for that cool down, again, it could really impact you in a negative way. Now, if you set yourself up with a plan in place, then you will be able to insulate yourself from all market conditions. Because as that clip said, he's bullish on what's going to happen. But if things change, that can change. So it is still a moving target, what the market's going to do. And so I always tell people, the losses hurt a lot more than the gains. So you don't want to expose yourself, because if the market goes down and you don't have the proper allocation of your assets, what could happen is you still got to pay the bills. You still want to take those vacations. So you may have to sell off assets to get those funds. And at that point, what you're doing is locking in losses. And so we encourage people that you don't want to try to figure out what the market is going to be doing over the next couple years. What you want to do is you want to have a portfolio that's set up for all market conditions, so that if the market is doing well, great. You know what? We may sell off some of those assets and take that cruise. If the market's not doing well, we may pull from another asset that's more insulated. A good example of that is what we talk about a lot are these fixed index annuities, because those are accounts that can participate in the upside growth if the analysts are correct. But if the analysts are not correct and the market crashes, then the assets that are in those accounts actually will not experience any losses. So you get some of the upside gain, but none of the losses. And having that type of diversified approach could help people, again, insulate them from that market volatility. So you got to be prepared for those losses, and you just got to have a plan.
Well, it feels like lately this bull just keeps charging forward, Jimmy, but as we all know, nothing lasts forever. So I want to ask you this. If this bull run does eventually cool off, what could that mean for the retirement plans or the income strategies that you've set up for your clients?
Well, it could be devastating for our clients. It wouldn't be devastating. It could be devastating if you don't have a plan. For our clients, everything that we preach is what they see, is that they have a diversified bucket of assets based on different time horizons. So they have assets invested one way for immediate income, assets invested a different way for shorter time horizons, say, 1 to 5 years. And anything beyond that, there's a different allocation. So again, it goes back to giving every dollar bill a job. And the nice thing about what we do with our clients is that as the market changes, we'll revisit their income plan, because we meet with our clients on a regular basis. So we'll get updates on what's going on in their lives. And we'll also see what the market is doing to see if we have to reduce the income that they're receiving. But the conversations that I like to have is, hey, the market's doing well and you actually need to increase your spending, so why don't you take that extra trip that you've been planning? But the key thing is that you want to be dynamic. And so with our clients, if the bull market has a cool off, oftentimes there's no adjustment needed because we already had our clients in a specific plan that will allocate for that. But if there needs to be an adjustment, we will catch it very quickly, so it's not going to impact their long-term plan. So it's really about making sure that you not only have an income plan, but you have to revisit it, right? You have to be dynamic about it and be able to adapt to that. So I would say that for our clients, they don't have huge concerns about whether the market is going up or down because they're going to take those trips either way. So if there's anyone listening out there that does not have this type of dynamic income plan, we'd love to sit down with you and at least kind of visit if that's something that would work for you. If you want that no obligation consultation, you can come into our office and we could talk about your specific situation. Give us a call. I do have 5 spots available this week. So 702-744-8344. Again, 702-744-8344. And I would love to talk to you about your income plan and how you can, basically weather the storms of the market.
And just to recap, this complimentary retirement consultation is available right now for our first 5 callers. Get a personalized second opinion from Jimmy himself. The number to call is 702-744-8344. Again, you don't want to miss out on this opportunity. Jimmy is eager to help, but spots are limited, so be quick. Claim yours. That number again, 702-744-8344. Or you can always get connected online at rightpathwm.com. All right, Jimmy, as we were just saying earlier, that number one fear in retirement is running out of money. And with talk of a looming recession, more people are looking at annuities as a source of guaranteed income security. But as we know, they are very complex. So I wanted to ask you, what are some of the common mistakes, Jimmy, that you see people make when they try to buy an annuity on their own?
Well, the key thing with an annuity or any other type of product is you don't want to be sold something. The annuity, just like a stock or a mutual fund or a bond, is just something that's in the tool bag to utilize based on a specific problem that you're trying to solve. We use annuities all the time, but you got to make sure you get it for the right reason. What I've seen when people are doing it on their own, they'll get an annuity, but it may not serve the purpose that they're looking for. For our purposes, we usually look at annuities for 2 reasons. It's going to be either income or growth. If you have a gap in your income and you're concerned that later on in life, you are not going to have enough money to cover your expenses or take those trips, and you want to make sure that you have a guaranteed income stream, you're going to want to go with something that is served specifically for income. Well, on the flip side, if you have plenty of income, you got Social Security, you got a pension, you have enough to cover your bills, but you're concerned about the market. You want to grow your money, keep up with inflation, but you don't necessarily want all that volatility, then you may want something that's more earmarked for growth. And what I've seen time and time again is people will come in, show me their annuity, and I ask them, well, what was the purpose of this? And first of all, they don't even know. They can't explain to me why they got it in the first place. And when I look at it, and it's somebody that has plenty of income, they got their pension, they got their Social Security, but they have this annuity that's giving them more income, I tell them, like, this doesn't really serve a purpose. You should be going more towards growth because you have plenty of income. And so things like that where there wasn't a purpose, it was just something that they were almost sold. I see that as a common problem. And also not revisiting your annuity. If you got an annuity, let's say 4 or 5 years ago, and you haven't had anyone revisit it to see if you can be put in a better position, that's something that I see as a common mistake, because we have that thing called refinancing. Just like your mortgage, you refinance when mortgage rates are low. Well, when interest rates are high, you want to refinance your annuity to put yourself in a better position. So those are some of the things that I encourage people to do, especially in these times right now where interest rates are very high.
Annuities can be a very powerful tool in retirement, but only if they're the right fit for your plan. And that is where Jimmy comes in. So if you've been curious about whether an annuity belongs in your retirement plan, or maybe you've got one already, but you're not sure it's working for you. This is your chance to get a second opinion from Jimmy. 702-744-8344 is what you need to dial. You can call, claim your spot for that complimentary retirement consultation. Jimmy will sit down with you, look at what you have or what you're considering, and help you understand the pros, the cons, and whether it's truly serving your retirement goals. But remember, our spots are limited, so you want to act fast. 702-744-8344. One more time, 702-744-8344. Or if online's better for you, you can head to rightpathwm.com and you can get started that way. All right, Jimmy, we talk a lot on this show about the fear of spending your retirement money. And I was listening to the Armchair Expert podcast earlier this week, and actor Seth Rogen was making me laugh because he can certainly relate to this fear. Take a listen.
I'm afraid I'm going to die with too much money. That is my fear. I don't have children, and I'm afraid I'm going to die and be like, I could have had a good place on the beach. That's it. Like, I don't want to die with like $10 million in the bank that I could have spent doing fun alive things. You know what I mean?
A jet to Paris on a whim.
Exactly. I'm going to look back. I could have been jetting.
Okay, now most of us probably aren't too worried about dying with $10 million in the bank, Jimmy, but how do you help your clients strike that right balance between enjoying their retirement, but also making sure that they don't run out of money?
Yeah, I could not agree more with Seth Rogen. And one of the things I tell my clients is I do not want you to be the richest person in the cemetery. Mm-hmm. So it's about making sure that you live the life that you can based on the resources that you have. But the key to all that, as we keep going back to, is you got to have a plan, because the fear that I see in people is they're not spending down the way they could potentially spend down, like jet set to Europe, maybe a couple more times a year, because they don't want to run out of money. There's that fear. But when you can show someone a plan and you have those ongoing meetings and you continuously monitor their plan, you can give them the confidence to say, you know what, I have plenty of couples that will look at each other and say, you know what, maybe we should remodel the bathroom, or maybe we should take that, extravagant cruise. But you got to get that confidence, because again, if the goal is not to pass on all your assets to your kids or to the heirs, but it's really to spend as much as you can and then give the rest away, then make sure you have a plan so you are not the richest person in the cemetery. That's the key to everything.
Jimmy, that is fantastic insight. What a great show today. Sadly, that is going to have to do it for us today here on the Right Path to Retirement. Big thanks to all of you for tuning in and spending part of your Saturday with us. We know we covered a lot today, but if you've got questions or if anything we talked about hit home for you, I want to encourage you not to wait. Pick up the phone, give us a call, 702-744-8344. Claim your complimentary retirement consultation while we still got a couple spots left. 702-744-8344 is the number. Remember, this is an exclusive opportunity I don't want you to miss out on. So again, that phone number, 702-744-8344. Or of course, if online's better for you, you can always get connected online at rightpathwm.com. That is going to do it for us this week. We will be back next week, same time, same place, with more great insight from certified financial planner Jimmy Lynn here on the Right Path to Retirement. Take care.
Insurance products are offered through the insurance business Right Path Wealth Management. Right Path Wealth Management is also an investment advisory practice that offers products and services through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, a registered investment advisor. IPW does not offer insurance products. The insurance products offered by Right Path Wealth Management are not subject to investment advisory requirements. Investing involves risk, including potential loss of principal. Any reference to the protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing carrier. This radio podcast is intended for informational purposes only. It's not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decision, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual situation. Right Path Wealth Management is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during the show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Right Path Wealth Management. Please remember that converting an employer plan account to a Roth IRA is a taxable event. Increased taxable income from the Roth IRA conversion may have several consequences. Be sure to consult with a qualified tax advisor before making any decisions regarding your IRA.